So not gonna lie, I never thought I would be making this video, but Malo finally responded to all the cheating allegations. And when I tell you this is absolutely insane, this is not a prank whatsoever. But before I show you guys her response and explain everything to you, we are so close to 10,000 subscribers, so hit that subscribe button and drop a like on the video if you learned something new. So if you guys have been following this situation at all, you know that Marlow, the #1 ranked Minecraft PvP player in the entire world, has been getting absolutely bombarded with cheating accusations for like the past few weeks. I'm talking a ton of clips popping up that shows her getting impossible hits. And after all of this, after everybody's been asking her to respond, she finally dropped a video. And not gonna lie, when I first saw it pop up on my recommendations, I was like, okay, finally we're gonna get some answers here. But dude, after watching this video and going through everything, this might have actually made things worse for her. Like, I'm not even kidding, and I'm going to explain everything to you guys, so just buckle up because this is going to be crazy. So the video is called Hacking is Bad, which honestly is kind of a funny title. And pretty much the entire video is just Malo playing with a hand cam against a previous high tier 1 player across 3 different game modes. So she's playing UHC, Diamond Pot, and SMP. And the whole point of the video is to show that she can play legitimately and to clear a name from all of these accusations. And honestly, when I first clicked on the video, I was like, okay, this is a good move. Like, showing handcam footage is pretty much the best way to prove you're not cheating, right? But dude, here's where things get really interesting. And this is where a lot of people start to notice some problems. First, the handcam only shows her mouse. Like, literally just the mouse. And I know what you're thinking. Okay, so what? That's normal for handcam videos, but dude, when you actually think about what the accusations are, this becomes a massive problem. Because pretty much all of the macro allegations, like the really serious ones, they're all about keyboard inputs. I'm talking about the stun slams, the attribute swaps, the shield stuns, the anchoring, literally everything that people are saying she's using macros for, involves pressing hotkeys on the keyboard in perfect timing. And the handcam doesn't show the keyboard at all. So like, yeah, we can see that she's moving her mouse manually, and we can see that she's clicking with her mouse, but we have no idea if she's using macros on her keyboard. And that's kind of the entire point of the accusations, you know what I'm saying? And not gonna lie, when I realized this, I was like, wait a second, this doesn't really prove anything about the macro allegations. Like, it proves that she can aim manually and that she's clicking with her mouse, but it doesn't prove that she's not using keyboard macros. And dude, there's so many ways that you could still be using macros even with a handcam on your mouse. You could have foot pedals, you could have a stream deck, like literally anything that involves the keyboard is just not shown in this video. So honestly, it's kind of incomplete as a defense. But okay, let me continue because this is where things get absolutely crazy. Because one of Marlow's friends, a player named Swight, who's literally top 3 in the world, he left a comment on her video. And dude, this comment is actually insane. Like, when I first read it, I had to read it like 3 times because I couldn't believe what I was seeing. But before I show you what he said, have you ever wanted to create your own server just like how Marlow made cpvp Club? Well, now you can, because I partnered with Lodestone Hosting, which is the most powerful and affordable Minecraft server hosting, which has advanced DDoS protection, 99% server uptime, and the list goes on. And if you wanted to play mod packs, Lodestone has you covered with their mod pack and plugin installers. And the best part, you don't have to spend thousands of dollars like Malo did. You can get a server for as low as £2.50, which is why Lodestone is my go-to server hosting. And I haven't even told y'all that I secured a 30% discount just for you guys. So click the link in the description or pinned comment and get yourself a Minecraft server today. Anyways, back to the video. So Swight commented, and I'm going to read this word for word. It's honestly tragic that I'm making this comment as Malo has been a great friend to me. But I can't sit here and not point out the fact that 90% of her disables in this UHC footage are not double clicks. While if you compare it to the footage in her test against me, she literally hits every single stun. I hope she can respond with a reason that justifies this fact. Let me break this down for you guys because this is actually the craziest part of this whole situation. So Swight is literally saying that in the handcam video, when Malo is being watched, she's only hitting like 10% of her shield stuns. But in her regular footage, like when she was fighting Swight in her tier test, she was hitting 99% of them. Like literally every single one. And this is coming from her friend. This isn't some random hater in the comments. This is a top 3 player in the world who has everything to lose by saying this. He even says it's tragic that he has to make this comment. Like, you can tell he really didn't want to say this, but the evidence was just too obvious for him to ignore. And honestly, this is so damning. Because think about it, when she's playing with a hand cam and people can see what she's doing, she's only hitting 10% of her shield stuns. But when there's no hand cam and nobody's watching, she's hitting 99%. Like, how do you explain that? And before you guys say, oh, maybe she was just nervous or having an off day. Dude, we are talking about a 90% difference in performance. And honestly, the only real explanation that makes sense is that she can't use whatever she's been using when there's a hand cam on, you know what I'm saying? And dude, Marlow's response to Swight's comment is actually kind of wild too. So she replies and says, the bee's nest is gonna get real stirred by this comment. Lol. And not gonna lie, when I read that I was like, okay, that's kind of dismissive. Like, your friend just pointed out a massive statistical impossibility in your gameplay, and you're responding with LOL? That doesn't really seem like the right response here. And then she says she'll address the macroing allegations in her video essay that she's working on, which honestly just sounds like she's kicking the can down the road. Like, she's basically saying, trust me, I'll explain later. But she doesn't give any timeline or any actual explanation right now. And then she says, responding to every single allegation that comes up is very tiring. And dude, I get it, I'm sure it is tiring, but this isn't just some random allegation from a hater. This is your friend who's a top 3 player pointing out something that's literally statistically impossible. Like, this deserves a real response, not just I'll get to it eventually. And then she claims that the video clears most of the accusations being made against her. Which honestly, I don't think is true at all. Because like I said before, the video only shows her mouse. It doesn't explain the performance difference that Swight just pointed out. It doesn't explain the vaccine situation where she stalled for 6 hours to avoid playing on a server with good anti-cheat. Like, it really doesn't clear most of the accusations at all. And honestly, the more I think about this video, the more it feels like it actually made things worse for her. Because before this video came out, there was statistical evidence and suspicious clips. But now we have documented proof of a performance difference. Like, Swight literally counted and said 90% of her shield stuns failed in the handcam footage. But in her regular footage, she's hitting 99% of them. This is actual evidence that something's different when she's being watched versus when she's not. And dude, the fact that Swight felt like he had to say something is really telling too. Because if you look at his history with this situation, he's been kind of all over the place. Like, there's an unlisted stream where he's complaining about Malo or saying he's cheating, and then he defended her in some comments and then he deleted those comments, and now he's finally saying what he really thinks. And you can tell from the way he worded his comment that this was really hard for him to do. He calls it tragic and says she's been a great friend to him, but he can't just ignore what he's saying. And honestly, that makes his comment even more credible, because he has everything to lose by saying this. Like, he could lose a friend, he could face backlash from the community, he could get demoted from the tier list. But he said it anyway because the evidence was just too obvious. So where does this leave us? Honestly, I think the response video raised more questions than it answered. Like, why only show the mouse and not the keyboard? Why is there such a massive performance difference between the handcam footage and the regular footage? Why respond to Swight's legitimate concern with LOL and deflection? And why keep promising this big video essay that's coming later instead of just addressing the accusations now? It all just feels really suspicious to me. And not gonna lie, I think a lot of people in the community are starting to feel the same way. Because even his supporters are having a hard time explaining away the performance difference. Like, how do you go from 99% shield stun accuracy to 10% just because there's a handcam on your mouse? That doesn't make any sense unless you're using something that you can't use when you're being watched. But let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. Do you think the handcam video cleared Marlow's name, or do you think it actually made things worse? And what do you think about Swight's comment? Like, is that definitive proof, or is there some explanation we are missing? Honestly, I'm really curious to hear what you guys think because this situation is so crazy. And if you guys enjoyed this video and want to stay updated on this situation as it develops, make sure to hit that subscribe button and drop a like on the video. And if you want to watch part 1 of the situation, click the video up on screen right now, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Goodbye!